you ready for another power-packed Phillips podcast?
Yes!
Alrighty. And are you ready to see your Week 15 EOC District Score grades?
Yes!
Check it out. I think I might owe some check marks. I'm thinking excellent job to Supercalifractions finishing 19.
Wow!
And congratulations, a shout out to the Fraction Freeloaders at number 23, baby.
Wow!
And don't forget about the Math Munchers coming in at number 25.
Woo!
And those are your week 15, scores.
Woo-hoo!
And let's see how you're doing on the check marks. Block 1 and 2, we have 1, 2, 3 check marks already earned.
Yes!
And block 3, 4, you've got 3 check marks earned.
Yolo, hee-hee. Yolo, 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 hee-hee.
And block 5 and 6, you have 2 check marks earned.
Woo!
Don't forget, in 2 weeks, Monday, April 15th, FCAT testing starts.
Hee-haw.
The first day of FCAT testing, Monday, April 15th, you will have both math parts.
Yolo, hee-hee. Yolo, 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 hee-hee.
Tuesday the 16th, you will have reading.
Wow!
Wednesday, April 17th, you will have reading.
What?
And Thursday, April 18th, you will have both parts of science.
Whatever.
And if you're absent, you get to make it up on Friday the 19th.
Uh-oh.
Here are your MSAs for today. Don't forget, problems 1 through 10 are worked out for your EOC packet this week, and they are posted in Blackboard if you have any questions or need some extra help.
What?
Yes, if you don't understand the problem, you just go on the Blackboard. I've done all 10 problems.
Yes!
Today's podcast again is going to be on 9.7, factoring special products. This will be part 2. Let's chop to it. Please copy down the following trinomial, n squared minus 12n plus 36. We're asked to factor this trinomial. It has 1, 2, 3 terms, trinomial. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw my 2 sets of parentheses. To make n squared, I'm going to do n times n. Remember from our previous podcast we talked about perfect squares. Well, 36 is a perfect square. So I'm thinking of the numbers that I can multiply together to get 36. Remember that a perfect square is when you multiply a number by itself. So when we look at our chart here, 6 times itself, 6 times 6 gives me 36. So 36 is a perfect square. So I'm going to ask myself, what numbers can I multiply together to get 36? Since it's a perfect square, I'll just use 6 times 6. So I could have positive 6 times positive 6, or I could do negative 6 times negative 6, because that also gives me positive 36. But I'm going to look at my middle term here, and I want 2 numbers that will add up to negative 12. Well, if I do 6 plus 6, that gives me positive 12. Doesn't work. So I'm going to say negative 6 minus 6 gives me negative 12. So we'll put a minus 6 in both of our parentheses. If you were to FOIL it out, you should get this trinomial above. Since I have the same products twice, in other words, I have n minus 6 here, and I have n minus 6 here, I write parentheses n minus 6 with a exponent of 2. Since both of these products are the same, write it one time with an exponent of 2 because it shows up once, twice. This would be our answer for this problem. Are you ready for a brain break? Because I sure am. And for our brain break today, we need to give a shout out to Mr. Phillips's beloved Chicago Cubs because check it out, baby. The Cubs are actually in first place. OMG, I can't believe it. I'm so excited. Now, obviously, my diehard sports fans would be quick to point out, Mr. Phillips, they've only played one game. They have 161 more to go, but who's counting? Nevertheless, the Cubs are in first place, and I think we should play some music to celebrate. Because the last time they won the World Series was 1908, just a couple years ago. Your parents might remember. But anyways, some music, maestro, please, to celebrate the Cubs actually being in first place. And as the song pointed out, the Cubs can be heroes just for one day. Please write down this trinomial. Negative 3y squared plus 36y minus 108. Notice that the coefficient is not positive 1. So we have some troll action going on here because it's going to troll you. So, since this coefficient is a negative 3, let's try to get rid of a factor, or let's try to factor out negative 3 from each term. So we're going to either try to get rid of the negative 3 or factor out a negative 3 from each term. So, in the first term, I'm going to break this up and I'm going to say, let's rewrite it as negative 3 times y squared. So we're going to rewrite this as negative 3 times y squared. Now remember, I want to get rid of or try to factor out this negative 3. So ask yourself, is there a way that you could make 36 by multiplying with a negative 3? Could you make 36 by multiplying with a negative 3? And if you're thinking, the Cubs could do it because they're actually in first place. You could make 36 by doing negative 3 times negative 12. Notice the idea is to try to find a negative 3 in each of these terms. So I'm going to break this down to negative 3 times negative 12y. Ask yourself, could you make negative 108 by multiplying something by negative 3? The Cubs could, at least for one day. Because you could do negative 3 times 36. An easy way to figure this out is take your calculator, divide this by negative 3. That'll be your answer. Take your calculator, divide this by -3. That'll be your answer. Now we should notice that we have a -3 in common. We have a -3 in common. So we're going to take those -3s and stick them right here at the front. We're going to put parentheses. I love leftovers. I also love it when the Cubs are in first place. Doesn't happen often, so I'm going to keep reminding you. So let's put our leftovers inside the parentheses. We have y squared. We have minus 12y. And we have positive 36. Leftovers go inside the parentheses. Now we're going to cover this up. And let's try to factor this out. Let's try to factor this out. Ooh, y squared. Very good. Y times y. Good job, Grasshopper. First place, Cubs. Now, ask yourself, what could you multiply together to give yourself positive 36? Well, just like on the last problem, we know that 36 is a perfect square. When you multiply a number by itself, 6 times 6 gives you 36. So, just like we did in the last problem, we could have positive 6 times positive 6, or we could have negative 6 times negative 6. Ask yourself, what numbers can you add together to give you negative 12? If you don't know, the Cubs can help you because they're in first place. The Cubs say you could do negative 6 minus 6. The Cubs say, write a minus 6 here, write a minus 6 here. But don't worry, they play today. So if you text me tonight, they'll probably be out of first place by tonight. Now, we had parentheses y minus 6, parentheses y minus 6. Just like we had in the last problem, we have it once, twice. So we write y minus 6 parentheses with an exponent of 2. An exponent of 2. Now, if we did y minus 6, parentheses y minus 6, and FOILed it, this is what we would get when we FOILed it. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take that troll, or that negative 3, and put it back in front. So now I would distribute the negative 3 with my trinomial here. Nice vocabulary. Cubs, first place. When I do that, I would get the problem. There's our troll that we originally started with. So to go back up, our final answer, we have to put the negative 3 back in front. So our final answer is negative 3, which they had in common, parentheses, y minus 6, parentheses, with an exponent of 2, because we had it once, twice. Go Cubbies! Bye.